Hello, bonjour, buenos dias, and welcome to your new Bona Private Wines video. Here on this channel we learn together about wine weekly, and you may have noticed that we've covered some very interesting Spanish wine related topics lately, a bit of an emphasis on Spain, because now it's time for me to introduce you to our newest wine collection from España. We're going to be delivering to your door 6 exceptional wines that we've carefully selected, the 6 best wines that we could find, tasting hundreds of different wines, the 6 finest needles that we spotted in the big haystack that is Spain. 6 gems, those are from small and very precise bodegas, 6 very tasty, absolutely delicious vinos. As is usual for us now, I'll present your 6 wines within 2 separate videos, so it's a bit more digestible. Today we'll talk about 3 wines that are made from the very traditional Tempranillo grape, the iconic typical Spanish red grape, the Spanish Cabernet Sauvignon you could call it if you wish, made in very traditional Spanish wine regions too, while our next 3 wines that I'll introduce next week will be made from other grapes in more diverse areas of Spain. So enough talking, let's get into it, let's get learning about those vinos and let's get tasting. For our first wine today, we're going no less than into arguably the best Spanish wine region, at least if you ask Spanish wine connoisseurs. Many of them will tell you that the Ribera del Duero, as it's called, is within the top 3 most reputable wine appellations at least, and the winery that makes this wine, called Alejandro Fernandez, is one of the iconic bodegas here. If you want to learn more about Ribera del Duero region, I have a full video here that I recommend, but know that it makes traditional Tempranillo based red wines that are some of the finest in Spain. It's somewhat of the border of Spain if you want. Complex red blends, they are from the heart of the harsh Castille terroir, or the Castille terroir. Now this bodega Alejandro Fernandez makes a cult wine that is locally very adored, that is called Tinto Pesquera, that is served in some of the top restaurants all around the world, but they also make a broader offering, and this MXI cuvee made from an estate vineyard that they own in the heart of Ribera del Duero, carefully elaborated Tempranillo 100%, aged for 14 months in oak barrels. If you're wondering about the MXI name, those are of course Roman numerals for the year 1011 or 1011, which is when this part of Castile was liberated by the Christians from the Arabs that had been occupying it for 500 years or so prior, during this crucial phase of Spain's history that is called the Reconquest, or the Reconquista as they call it in Spanish. But let's get tasting this beauty. Ooh, and this is a wine with a gorgeous red color. It looks dark and deep, very useful, nice purple hues around the rim, which is how you can tell that it looks pretty young, makes it look really lively. But let's smell. Oh yeah, it smells extremely vibrant and young. Yeah, it just smells extremely fruity, like fresh mixed berries, the raspberry, the blueberry, the blackberry, the red berries, all the berries you can think of, very salivating, and it's very fresh. It feels like, yeah, the intention with this wine was to deliver the purest expression of the grapes. You can smell a little oak, a bit of chocolate, a bit of caramel. Also, it's a little herbal, laurel leaves, acacia. I smell some ripe apricot as well. So it smells really fruity, delicious, spicy, zesty, fruity, really punchy overall as well. But let's taste, see what the palate tells us. Yes, indeed, this is pure expression of Tempranillo grapes. The bodega, probably polished, I would say, this wine with the maturation in oak to add this chocolate, the dark coffee, the caramel, all the spices as well, and to add complexity and also to smoothen the tannins. But you can taste all those different components, but it appears that they put a strong emphasis on delivering a wine that feels just like pure fruit. It's just like pure Tempranillo grapes. I made Tempranillo in Spain for 3 years when I lived and worked there in Ribera del Duero and in Toro later, and this definitely perfectly reminds me of when I was making and fermenting the wines at my bodega. This pure blend of mixed spices, the meatiness, the black pepper character of Tempranillo has a very expressive and clean delivery in this 10-11 wine. You feel a bit of the altitude as well with the zingy acidity. I love how it reminds me of citrus fruits, also the fresh berries combined with a bit of a lemon or lemony zesty feel and the depth from the subtle oak aging as well. So just gorgeous, potent, fruity wine, fresh, lively, spicy. I adore it. Now, this is a relatively young wine, but a 4-year-old wine is not that young, so you can definitely start drinking it now or store it for a couple of years for a bit of an extra smoothness, and up to 10-12 years from today if you feel so inclined. For fun, in this video, since we're dealing with traditional styles of Spanish wines, I want to give you traditional Spanish food pairings to go with them. This is the perfect wine for a chicken and seafood paella, or paella, as would be said in Spanish. As it's fruity, it's spicy, you need this type of lively red for a paella, which this is the absolute perfect example of. Let's now go to an area of Spain that I also adore because I lived there and have very fond memories of. I lived there for 2 years, blended with the local farmers, and I've told you about it before, the village of Toro and its surrounding vineyards. We're not very far from Ribera del Duero, where our previous wine was from, and we'll go back there in just a moment with our next wine. But Toro is the biggest expression of Tempranillo in Spain and in the world, a hot area in summer with sandy soils that produces explosive wines, a very old local winemaking tradition as well. The producer is a bodega called Félix Sanz, named after the founder, an old farmer at the time and vine grower who started making wine back in the 1930s, 1934. So coming up to nearly 100 years old. So a traditional family operation. This Vocablos, wine meaning words in Spanish, like vocabulary, Vocablos, is a very special selection of extremely old vineyards in Toro, some of which are over 100 years old. This wine was aged in 100% new French oak barrels, so some solid expression of oak we expect in this wine. So the best possible selection and maturation process to make this wine, and only 5,000 bottles ever made of this 2019 vintage. So we're one of the very few people in the world able to taste this wine. So let's see what it has to offer. Ooh, and yes, indeed, you can recognize Toro. This is a rich wine, dense color, some brick hues to the rim. It looks dark, really deep overall. It appears slightly evolved with this orange hues a little bit, as we would expect being a 6-year-old wine. Let's smell. Yes, the nose is simply extraordinary. It smells absolutely gorgeous, extremely powerful, somewhat of a tamed fruit bomb, I would call it. There's this enormous amount of comforting fruit characters, the blackberry, the caramel, the dark cherry, the plum, the prune, immense power. but it's all tamed down also by just as enormous a scent of fine leather, dark chocolate, wood smoke, wood ashes, the mixed spices, the black pepper, roasted hazelnut. So it's been tamed by a lot of oak as well, but everything is big and everything comes together really nicely. So an extremely fine, mature red wine like a Bordeaux or an excellent Napa wine would be, but 10x the power. It's amazing. I love how the nose is so powerful and pungent. But let's get tasting. Yeah, wow. Oh my god, yes, yes indeed, the palate is just as good if not better than the nose suggested. You will find that enormous amount of fruit power as I was talking about, all the extremely ripe mixed red berries, the mixed berry jelly, the cooked apple, the plum, the prune, the pear, combined with just as potent a combination of spices like nutmeg and cinnamon, and the oak influence is also very powerful with the wood smoke, the caramel, the dark coffee, the hazelnut. Really dense, literally a punch in the face. This is not a wine for the faint-hearted, but still all those notes of forest floor, the leather, testimonies of these wines, great level of maturation in oak make it that it's not just big and powerful, it's a fine, big, powerful wine, a complex wine, smooth and texture is massive but refined, finely grained. To summarize, this is just one of the most concentrated red wine that you could find, but with the refinement, the complexity, the acidic freshness, the depth, also that only very old vines can give a wine, and this is the secret here. This is why it's so big and acidic and refined at the same time, because the vines are so old. So this is wonderful. This is a 6-year-old wine already, so it's ready to drink absolutely, but it can age for at least 10 years easily, and probably even 15 or more, I would say. For a traditional Spanish dish pairing, I'd go with this traditional Spanish dish, braised lamb chops with roasted potatoes and roasted bell peppers. Absolutely gorgeous. Yum! And finally, for our last wine, today we're going back into the Ribera del Duero, the best Spanish region for red wines. Why not? Since it's the best, we might as well have 2 wines from there. This is a tiny boutique, a winery, a small bodega started about 15 years ago by 5 associates which are passionate about wine and who wanted to make their own vino. They make wine with extreme attention to detail from their own small 20-acre vineyard. This is their Vendimia Seleccionada wine, so the top selection. Understand their Reserva wines made from a selection of the best grapes from their vineyard, aged for 12 months in French oak barrels, and a confidential, very confidential production of about 8,000 bottles total only for this vintage. 2016, so this is almost a 10-year-old wine so far, so it should be nicely matured and ready for you. Let's see. And yes, here you will notice that you have a wine that shows some more evolution in its appearance. It's pretty dark looking, although not huge intensity, especially compared to the previous 2, but it's still pretty dark, but certainly has these orange hues which show that it's got a bit of a brick color because it's got a little bit of evolution which we expect from a 10-year-old wine. It's good looking actually, very vibrant, still red, vibrant enough, just gorgeous looking, as you'll see. But let's smell. Oh man, ooh la la. Oh man, do I love the smell of this wine. It smells so generous, it smells so fine, so sweet. I get some very, very specific sensations actually when I smell this wine. It appears to me it gives me very specific memories, one of which are prunes. Those are, especially here in the south of France, there's a bit of an old specialty that we have, those dried prunes. It smells exactly like this. Quite a strong component, really rich, dried plums are those prunes. The second element that I get from this wine that is really, really potent as well is what the Spanish call the turon, which is what in France we call the nougat, which is this sweet treat that is made from sugar and almonds, and that is delicately flavored with a bit of anise and a little bit of lemon and orange blossom. So it's got this really sweet sensation combined with the nutty almond and also the spices and the herbs and the citrus. All of this is in there and it gives it a really, really subtle, generous feel. Let's get tasting. I can't wait. Wow, 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 wow. What strikes first here is how smooth this wine is. For a wine with such a concentration of tannins, you can feel that the tannins are dense. This has really tightly, really finely grained texture, smooth, it's velvety, silky, you could certainly say. The second thing that strikes me is how vibrant the acidity is. Being such a generous, ripe wine with all those flavors of cooked fruits, the dried fruits, the prune, you certainly expect like a lot of sweetness. It's got dried apricot, raisin, sultanas flavors, but the acidity is also extremely present in a very positive way. It freshens up the flavors, it underlines the liveliness on the background in a way that the wine eventually doesn't only shine with fruitiness and generosity, but also with the vibrancy of fresh berry flavors as well, because the acidity is there lifting up all the freshness. So I love the huge complexity from that maturation as well. Good, fine 10-year-old wine is always going to be better than a 3-year-old wine. More complexity, more depth, and this is the perfect illustration of this. Like us, yes, wine gets better with age. So generous, complex, spicy, fruity, lively. You will genuinely experience what a very good Ribera del Duero wine is, why it's considered the best wine appellation in Spain, the harshness of Castille combined with the freshness from the altitude of the Spanish Central Plateau, and very old vines specially selected from those beautiful vineyards with a deep, clayey, sandy terroir. It's got it all. So being perfectly matured now, 10-year-old, I enjoy it. Now you can start enjoying it, but it's also capable of keeping this impeccable quality for another 5 to 8 years, no problem. As a food pairing suggestion from Spain, it reminds me that I used to love this dish that's called the pollo al ajillo, which is a chicken garlic traditional recipe from Spain, and go with this potato omelette, the tortilla de patatas with a bit of chorizo in it. Delicious combination, the perfect combination from Spain. This wine with those traditional dishes from Spain, it's gonna be fantastic. Here you have it, your first 3 wines from your Spanish selection introduced. 3 exceptional wines in very traditional styles from Spain, although I'd say, yes, they're made with traditional local grape Tempranillo, those old terroirs that have been cropping vines for centuries and centuries, and somewhat of a traditional approach to winemaking as well have gone into those wines, but The styles of these wines, the precision with which they're made is quite modern. In fact, winemaking in Spain has evolved. It used to be more oxidative, longer barrel aging wines that were less fruity, less precise, a bit more dusty in their flavor profiles. Even when I was there 15-20 years ago, now those are razor sharp in their quality, the precision in the fruit character combined with delicious oak, and those are perfect expressions of the traditional style made better with exclusive, beautiful precision in the winemaking. Absolutely gorgeous. Next week, don't miss our next 3 wines from the collection. Take care in the meantime, and I will see you soon in the wonderful world of wine. Cheers, salut!